12 songs that I've never got sick of from the 1970s. And I got a couple of albums here, but or records, but I thought I had more, but every time I go looking for a record, I got rid of it some time ago. But anyways, I'm going to start off The Story in Your Eyes by the Moody Blues. Always love that song. It has that real up-tempo, great riffing going on at the beginning. And from the beginning with Emerson, Lake and Palmer and Greg Lake. You can't beat Greg Lake for a singer. And from the beginning, it's a great song that I never got sick of. And I got to switch over now because my records disappeared. So I'm going to start off with Knocking on Heaven's Door by Bob Dylan. It's one of those songs that it's so simple, and his version ultimately is the best. It doesn't get any better than his version. There's a certain amount of feeling in there that I just don't get from anybody else's version, and it's his song. Don't Fear the Reaper. I'm not a big Blue Oyster Cult fan, but that song, every time I hear it, I could hear it again and again and again. Rod Stewart, Maggie May. There's a line in there about late September and I should be back in school. And when this came out, I was on my way out west and I thought, geez, I should have gone back to school and did something else. But at the time I didn't. Then we got I'd Love to Change the World by 10 Years After. This is the best of. Oh, that's ultimately one of my favorites of all time. And Imagine by John Lennon. I mean, can't leave that out. Imagine There's No Imagine. I can't imagine that. But then I got Bob Seger, which is kind of weird. This is the only Bob Seger I got, and this is Night Moves. And I just love that acoustic intro, and it's such a great song. I never got sick of it. Don't Shoot Me, I'm Only the Piano Player by Elton John. The song Daniel is on here, and this is my second favorite Elton John record. At the time when it came out, it just brings back a lot of memories. Then we got Year of the Cat. This is a couple of albums I bought just for the one song. And the rest of the album's okay, but Year of the Cat, every time I hear that, I could hear it again, just like the rest of these songs. And then Baker Street by Gerry Rafferty. There's a couple other good songs on this album, but Baker Street with that intro, with that sax, I mean, I remember when I was actually delivering office supplies in the 70s. And we lived out of town, and I'd have to drive into town, and this is in Kingston, Ontario, and every day they would play Baker Street, and it uplifted me for going to a shitty job. And last but not least, one of my favorite groups, top 10 favorite group, Ozark Mountain Daredevils, and this is Jackie Blue. And there's a line in Jackie Blue that's one of my favorite lines in any album or any song is every day in your indigo eyes. There's something about that line that gets me. And if you're not familiar with the Ozark Mountain Daredevils, get this as a starter. This is the best of. It's called Time Warp. And they were great well, they're still a group, but there's 3 or 4 great songwriters in that group. And I love the Ozark Mountain Daredevils. So that's 12 songs from the 1970s that I never got sick of.